So we have even more breaking news tonight, folks, somehow. Elon Musk has announced that his time as special government employee has come to an end. On his social media site, he wrote, "I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government." Sort of ending his role in demolishing huge swaths of the federal government with a whimper, I kind of think. But to be honest, the Trump administration never really actually cared that much about reducing wasteful spending or rooting out fraud and abuse. I mean, remember how in the literal first week of his second term, Trump unlawfully fired 17 inspectors general across various federal agencies? The job of inspectors general is literally to root out waste, fraud, and abuse within their assigned agencies. So when Trump fired those IGs, he was effectively saying, I actually don't care that much about that at all. I mean, fast forward to today, and the Washington Post reports that some of the replacements Trump has picked to fill the empty IG roles come from deeply partisan, deeply shady backgrounds. I mean, for example, Trump nominated a man named Thomas March Bell to be the...
Let's be honest. Do these guys actually do any of that stuff? I mean, let's be real. I would like to see a report on any of these inspectors generals, seeing what they actually have done for any, like, in any shape, fashion, or form. I don't recall ever seeing like a massive report or briefing or article or anything where somebody said, "Look at all this stuff that we found." So, I don't know where she's going with this, but, she's got to spin it up.
Inspector General for Health and Human Services. And back in the late 90s, Bell notably resigned from a state government job after he allegedly mishandled thousands of dollars in taxpayer money. To be the IG for the VA, Trump picked a woman named Cheryl Mason, a former senior advisor to VA Secretary Doug Collins, the very cabinet secretary she's supposed to be overseeing, which seems tough. And for the Department of Labor Inspector General, Trump nominated Anthony D'Esposito, who, the Washington Post points out, is a former Republican congressman who lost his New York seat after he was accused of putting his mistress and his fiance's daughter on his official taxpayer-funded payroll. Sometimes you just can't make up the stories. Joining me now are two former inspectors general who were fired by Trump earlier this year. Mark Greenblatt is the former inspector general at the Department of Interior. Rob Storch is the former inspector general at the Department of Defense. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight.
At the DOD, huh? Inspector General at the DOD. Yeah, you found a lot of stuff there. You cut a lot of stuff, buddy.
I think I told you both before we got started that I remember many days of waking up and seeing there was a new Inspector General report that was going to be released. And when you're in the White House, you think, oh, something I can't say on television. And I raised that because I think the relationship, in my experience at least, and I think for most people who've worked in Democratic and Republican White Houses, is respectful but not friendly. Why is that important?
Well, you have to have some level of remove. An inspector general can't be buddy-buddy with everyone. We know that, we're sort of the skunk at the picnic. And that's something that we take very seriously, that we need to have some distance so that we can be independent, that we can call balls and strikes, just like an umpire in baseball, and that our findings, our recommendations will be viewed in a credible way because we're not too close with either party. That's the key thing for inspectors general, is to be independent, not political actors.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, I'd add, when I was at the Department of Justice, we used to say that you'd get on an elevator and everyone would get off.
Oh, sorry. I guess he was at the DOJ, not the DOD.
Quite like that.
It would be awkward on the elevator.
It would be awkward on the elevator. But on the other hand, good leaders of whatever political persuasion, I think, appreciate it when people come to them, let them know about issues and concerns and give them an opportunity to address that. In order to do that effectively, you can't be too close to the people that you're overseeing politically or otherwise.
And because your responsibility, I think you probably would both see it, is to the American people and ensuring things are efficient and there isn't abuse of power or abuse of programs. One of the criteria, and one of the reasons I'm so grateful you both are here, is it's so important for people to understand what these roles are, because they're in every White House, every federal government, not in the White House, but in every federal government. And there was a description today in the Washington Post story by someone, where a former official who said, there are basic thresholds that you need to meet in order to be a good inspector general. Have you managed a big office before? Have you done investigations before? Have you worked in this community? Is that right? What is she missing?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. It's critically important. The law has very clear requirements about what's allowed and what's not allowed in nominating inspectors general. It's not allowed to consider political affiliation. And that's critically important for the reasons that Mark and I have talked about. If you're seen as a partisan, there's no way you can do hard-hitting oversight or do it in a credible way, right? So the law is very clear that that's not allowed. And
I'm sure no administration would ever hire an inspector general on the basis of political clout, right? I'm sure that never happened. So I guess, again, Trump is the first one to do something like that, if in fact that's what happened. I really thought they were going to go a different angle with this, because this is just it's kind of a lame angle that they're coming at. I mean, I would say that it's very evident that Trump administration right now is not cutting spending because of the amount of spending that they're implementing, right? The amount of military spending, the $1 trillion going to DOD, you know, I mean, basically obliterating all of Doge's savings. That's the angle that I would have went if I was trying to be, you know, coming at it from the point of view of, you know, Doge goes out with a whimper, even though Doge isn't going out, right? Doge is staying in place. Elon Musk is managing, you know, several $100 billion companies. His contract in order for him to remain in the as an advisor or whatever the role he was in, I believe only had a 90-day cap. I'm sure they could have re-upped it, but he has other things to do, right? He put the team together. He did what he had to do. Now they're going to go on and continue the Doge work. My issue with it, though, is that they're still spending way too much money. And if you look at a Massey, if you look at a Ron Paul, if you look at those guys, I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene's on the same side. There are a lot of these Republicans in the Senate and the House that are, you know, they're basically screaming this. They're saying, listen, we are spending too much money. And that's the one thing that I really hope that, you know, Musk just had an interview saying the exact same thing. That's the only way to fix this stuff, guys. The only way to fix this is to cut the funding, cut the spending, right? But it's a hard thing to do politically. And, you know, but Trump is better suited than anyone than I can remember. He's not running for another term. You know, he has a whole bunch of, you know, he's got the political clout at this time to push through and make this happen. And he's kind of, it doesn't seem like it's going to really go the way that a lot of MAGA wants it to go. We're really looking forward to spending cuts. We're really looking forward to getting the government into shape. I just don't see how this is going to happen. If you guys can subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it. If you guys hit the like button, if you guys comment, I will answer all of your comments and questions and concerns below. Yeah, I'll take a look at that Musk video. It was you know, he seemed a little disappointed. not in that disappointed, and not that he was leaving Doge. Everyone knew that was going to happen, and everyone kind of spinning this into saying that Musk is breaking ties with Trump. Musk in that interview that I saw said nothing but good things about Trump. You know, Trump was able to keep his distance from Musk and allow Musk to do what he needed to do, and you know, he was just disappointed in the spending. Musk overall was disappointed in the fact that, yeah, okay, they're approaching the $200 billion in savings, but none of it has been, you know, essentially codified. None of it has been, you know, actually reduced from my understanding of the situation. And that's the other problem, right? Why does somebody not like me not understand? Are these actual cuts that have been implemented? You know, if I'm consuming all this stuff on a daily, you know, that's something that should be very apparent to me. As just a regular guy, but yeah, government spending too much. Department of Defense, Pentagon has way too much money. You got to Doge it. Don't think it's going to happen. Never thought it was going to happen, but you know, still a little disappointed that it might have happened, and it's just not going the way that a lot of us thought. But yeah, you know, in the end, I think Doge will continue. Hopefully, they uncover some more stuff. Hopefully, they can weed out some more waste, fraud, and abuse. However, the big nut is at the Pentagon, and I don't think they're ever going to get in there. But we'll see. Guys, thanks a lot for coming out. Give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe, leave a comment. I'll talk to you down below. If you want to leave me a nasty comment, I'll still talk to you down below. So thanks a lot for coming out. We'll see you again on the next video. Thanks.